Hey everyone, welcome back to ML Works. In this video, we'll learn how to fine-tune an GPT open source model which is of 20 billion parameters using Unsloth. So the first step is to set up the environment, and for which we'll be making use of Google Colab. You can go to browser and search for colab.research.google.com, and then you will see a pop-up where you can select the new notebook and you will end up seeing the UI as shown here. So once you see this UI, you can go and select the runtime type as T4 GPU and save it here. So once this is done, then you have to go ahead and start your fine-tuning job. So the first step would be to install the necessary packages. So since this is a fine-tuning task, so we have to install different packages. First thing is to install Unsloth, and then we have Torch, Triton, all these dependencies. So to avoid any confusion, what I'll do is I'll just share this notebook in the description. You can just copy the link and open the notebook in your Google Colab environment. Otherwise, you can download the notebook in your local machine as well. So let me just run this installation step first. So while this is running, so first it is getting connected to the GPU environment. So once it is connected, then it will install the necessary package. It is connected now and it has started the installation. Now let me go to the next step, where we'll be importing fast language model for downloading the model, and then we set certain parameters here, which is the max sequence length and D type. So here, if you see, as part of fast language model, we make use of from pre-trained. We say that we want to download the specific model, and then we set the D type as none, which means it will auto detect the D type. And then comes our max sequence length, which is the 1024, and you choose any for long context. You can modify this parameter such that you can change the length of the context that you can handle. And then comes our load in 4-bit. Since this is a 20 billion parameter model, it is better to load this model in 4-bit instead of 16-bit or 32-bit. And otherwise, if you load it in 16 or higher precision, you will end up having out of memory error. So that's why we set it as true here. We want to load the model in 4-bit. In the next parameter, we set full fine-tuning as false, because we are not interested in updating all the parameters. We are only interested in certain layers which we want to update as part of this fine-tuning. So we set this as false here. So let me run this as well. And then comes our next step, where we mention the layers that we are interested in. So here we mention get PEFT model from fast language model, and this is the model that we want to use, inside which we want to create our adapter model. And we set the R as 8, which is the rank parameter for your adapter. We can also increase it to up to 128 and also above, but the thing is, it will lead to destabilization of your training, and you might also end up consuming a lot of memory and compute. So what you can do is you can set it as small value and see the performance how it is. And then we set the target modules that we are interested in updating. So these are the 7 modules that we'll be updating as part of this fine-tuning. And then we set LoRa alpha, which is the scaling factor for controlling the strength of your adapter model with respect to the base model. So this will be the way how much importance will be given to your adapter model over the base model. So next comes our LoRa dropout, which is set as 0. So we are not going to drop out any neuron as part of the fine-tuning task. And then we set bias as none, because we are going to use the same bias parameter which is present in the base model. It will be frozen, and we'll be only updating these different layers which are shown here. And then we make use of gradient checkpointing as Unsloth, which is typically used for very long context. And then comes our random state, which is set as 3407. This is used for reproducing the experiment from your end as well. So let me run this. So while this is getting downloaded, and then it will run this specific section where we'll get the PEFT model, and then comes our reasoning effort. So GPT open source model allows you to adjust the model's reasoning effort. So this will give you the control over the trade-off between the model performance and the latency. So if you want to generate the faster response, then you will be using the low reasoning effort. If you want a balance between your performance and the speed, then you will be using the medium reasoning effort. If you want a high reasoning performance, you'll be setting the reasoning effort as high, but this will also lead to higher latency. So let me just go here first. Here first we import text streamer from transformer, and then we set our message where we say the user and content solve this specific equation, and then we go to the inputs where we take in the tokenzier.apply chat template for this specific message, and we set these different parameters. We say that add generation prompt as true, return the tensor as pt, which is PyTorch tensor, return dictionary reasoning effort as low, and then we move everything to CUDA, and then we start the model generation. So this is where we generate our response. So let me just run this also here. And what we do is, in the next step, we modify the reasoning effort to medium and we see the response. So let me run this as well, and then we test it out with reasoning effort as high. Let's see. So this all three will give a different result based on the type of reasoning effort. The response will change. So this has been downloaded. This is also set here, the PEFT, and we are running the low version of the reasoning here, and we got this response, I guess. Okay, it is still running here. So this is the system message. You are a ChatGPT large language model trained by OpenAI. This is the knowledge cutoff, the today's current date. Reasoning is low and the valid channels. And this is where you get your user input. So this is the message that you have sent, I guess, here. Yeah. So x power 5 plus 3 into x power 4. Okay. So let's wait for the result. So this is where we are generating the response. So let me see here, resource utilization. So it went up to 12 GB of GPU RAM. Okay, it is kind of compute intensive. So it is also slow, we can see that. Okay, so they gave this specific as our response for this specific reasoning effort, low reasoning effort. Now let's move on to the medium reasoning effort, and this is where we get this response. So this is the user message what we got, and this is the assistant message that we are getting. The user asks, solve this equation, probably solve for x. So equation is this one, and we move towards this one. So this is the second response with the medium effort. So the point is here not to understand the result. It is more to how to fine tune your model. So here we move on to the reasoning effort for high, and we got this as our response here. Solve the equation. We said this is equal to 3. That simplifies x power 5. So this goes much better than the previous one. So everything is like based on the reasoning effort, the response improves. Now let's talk about our data set that we want to work with. So we'll be working with multilingual thinking data set, which is from Hugging Face. So the idea here is that it contains a reasoning chain of thought examples derived from user question that have been translated from English into 4 other languages. So the same data set was also referenced by OpenAI's cookbook for fine tuning. So we are using the same data set also. So the first thing is to format the prompt function. So here we take in the example, we take the message, apply the chat template on the conversation, we get our text, which will be creating our dictionary finally here. So this is where we download the data set and format it. Okay, so let me run this. In the next step, what we do is to format our data set, we apply our version of the GPT-OSS prompt. So this is where we make use of share GPT standardization, and the data set that we downloaded here, we take it and apply this specific formatting. So let me run this. So once this is done, let's move on to our first example. So this is the first data pointer. Here we can see this is the system message that we get. It starts here and it ends here. And then we have developer start here, and whose message is this one, reasoning language. This is the input, I guess, and this is the output, and these are various other parts of your input data. So this is the final message, and this is where we return. Okay, this is basically your data point for fine tuning. So this is where we start our training, and we make use of supervised fine-tuning config and supervised fine-tuning trainer from Hugging Face. So TRL is also a Hugging Face package, and here inside this we set the model, and then we set the tokenizer for taking in the input and transforming it into a format such that it can be handled by the model. And then we take the data set which we modified here, this one. We take this data set and we set the training configuration here. So we'll be processing one request at a time, and we'll be accumulating gradient for 4 sequential steps, and then we'll be updating the weights. And then comes our learning rate. Based on the estimated error, we'll be updating the weights with the help of this learning rate. And then we'll be setting the max step as 30, which is the iterations that we want to run this job for. And then we set the warm-up steps as 5, which means that for the first 5 steps, the model will be keeping the weights near to 0 such that we don't end up having gradient explosion. And then we have optimizer as Adam W 8-bit, which is different from standard Adam W optimizer. So standard one will be making use of gradient state, which is in 32-bit. So here we'll be making use of the gradient at 8-bit such that we can reduce the VRAM usage. And then comes our weight decay. This is basically how you transform your weights. And then comes your learning rate scheduler. So this is also how you increase your learning rate linearly as you move with your training job. And then comes seed as 3407, which is used for again reproducing the experiment. And output directory has outputs, report to has none. If you want to track your training job, you can make use of weights and biases or tensor board, with the help of which you can track the experiment that you are running. Let me just run this here. So in the next step, we also use Unsloth's train on completion method to only train on the assistant outputs. So based on the assistant's output, we'll be training our model and ignore the loss on the user's input. This helps to increase the accuracy of fine tunes and lower loss as well. So this is where we mention that we want to train on responses only coming from the assistant output. So this is the parameter, keyword parameter, and we take the trainer that we have created here and we set it as part of this specific module, and this is the keyword argument that we set here. We take it and run this here. Then comes our tokenizer.decode. Let's see what is present inside our data set. So let me run this here. So for the 100th data point, the input IDs on after decoding, we see this as the input. And then let us see here, let's print the masked output example. You should see only the answer present. So let's run this. Okay, so this is just the response that we want to see. Now let me go to this specific section where we can see the memory stats. So what is the GPU that we have right now, which is Tesla T4, maximum memory is this one, and this is what the reserved memory is. Now let me run this here. This is where we'll be starting our training. So this will take quite a bit of time because we have a smaller GPU and we have around 3 million parameters to train on. So it will take time. So here we can see that our model has been trained here. So at step 1 we have around 1.07 as our training loss, and it fluctuates between around 1. It is fluctuating till steps 10. Okay, and then it starts moving down a bit, and then it again fluctuates between 1. It keeps fluctuating between 1. But if you want to improve the performance, right, what I would suggest is you can increase the steps. You can turn it into full epoch instead of running it only for 30 steps. It will automatically improve the performance. Once you are done with this training, what you can do is then you can check the final memory and time stats. So let me go here, run this. So it took around 805 seconds, which was used for training, which is nothing but your fine tuning. The peak reserved memory was 12.77 GB and peak reserved memory for training was 0 GB. Reserved memory percentage of max memory is 87% was utilized. And then we have peak reserve memory for training percent of max memory is 0%. So next comes our inference. So this is where we again take our message, which is the user message, and then we have system prompt, which says that you are a helpful assistant that can solve mathematical problems. The problem with this specific instruction is that the model is the dataset that we fine-tuned on doesn't have mathematical knowledge, so it might not work as well as we expect it to work. So let me just go here and do the inference for one data point. So this is the one data point that we want to resolve for. Now first we take the input, we apply the tokenizer, we get the chart template for that specific input, and these are the various parameters that we set, and we set the reasoning effort as medium, and we move to CUDA. And then comes your transformer where you use text streamer, we generate text, we take in the input, maximum new token is 64, streamer as text streamer of tokenizer. Let me run it. So this will generate the response here. So assistant, we need to solve equation x power 5 plus 3 into x power 4 minus 10 is equal to 3. Subtract 3, which is x power 5. Okay, because we are moving it to this side, I guess. Yeah, subtract 3, and then we solve for the real root. So this is the response that we got for this specific input. Okay, it did not solve the problem statement, but it gave you some response. So similarly, you can train it on a bigger data set and you can generate a response for your input as well. Only thing is you have to ensure that the data on which you are fine tuning on has some relevance on the input request that you are sending. So since we fine tuned it for a specific data set and then we end up asking solve for the specific equation, we did not get much of a response here. Now in the next step, what we do is we save the model as LoRa adapters and we can push it to Hugging Face Hub if required. So to save the model, we can do save model.save pre-trained and give the name of the model that we want to save. And if you want to push it to Hub, then you can just push this to Hub using the Hugging Face token. Okay, this will go into your repository and save the model there. So we are at the end of the video. So once you are able to push the model, you can again download the model and start performing inference. That is the next step that you have to figure it out. For now, what we have done is we have taken the open source model for GPT and we fine-tuned it on a multilingual data set, and we are able to save the model as well. So this is the folder on which the model has been stored. So if I just see here, GPT-OSS-LoRa, though these are the saved tensors and this is the configuration file. So with this, I'll be concluding this video. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next.